Welcome back to my new series on patching with the Alan Strange text. Last week we took a look at chapters 5 and 6, and this week I'd like to continue with a look at a very interesting patch using envelope applications from page 65. So hang on to your hats as we explore more Stranger Synthings. A further look into Chapter 6 brings us such oddities as alternative controllers like wind controllers and percussion controllers, and eventually we enter the realms of sci-fi when we see apparatus designed to read biological functions, brain waves, alpha waves, and the like, and the composer's ability to use those as source material to create ongoing functions that drive electronic music modules. Next, we see more down-to-earth modules like timing pulses and switches in their application. Eventually, Alan Strange takes us through the introduction of the envelope generator, and here is where his book really shines. Instead of just using envelope generators to control amplitude, Alan shows us many different applications that envelope generators can be used for in the patches described on page 65. Let's try out the first one. This simple patch uses a keyboard and an envelope to control an oscillator in a unique way. I'm coming out of the keyboard with a MIDI cable into a MIDI to CV interface. The gate from that interface is going into the top of a 4-channel dope for envelope. The output of that envelope goes up to an attenuator, and then the output of that attenuator comes down over to the 1 volt per octave input on my tip-top oscillator. I'm coming out of the CV output of that same interface, which represents the keyboard pitches, and I'm going up into a dope for filter rather than the VCA that Alan Strange shows in his diagram. This is simply so that we can hear it on YouTube. As I play the keyboard back and forth, the interface will send voltages that will change the frequency of my low-pass filter. Let's have a listen to what it sounds like. So as I strike a key, the envelope plays and then shoots a voltage that rises instantly, drops slowly to change the frequency of the oscillator. But as I play up and down on the keyboard, the filter will close and open. The patch is very, very simple, but it demonstrates the flexibility of the voltage control system, a very important first concept when we first learn patching. Next, we skip down to the patch that Alan demonstrates on the bottom of page 65. So again, I'm using the envelope generator, but this time I'm taking its output and I'm shooting it all the way across my big system to a dope for quantizer, and then it comes all the way back with our envelope voltage now quantized to a major scale and patched back in to the tip-top oscillator. So we can hear now when I depress the key that it's playing a major scale up and down. If I make changes to the shape of the envelope, then I'll get different shapes of musical scales. If I increase the attack, we can hear the scale rising and falling. And this really got me interested and curious about what kind of melodic effects I could create if I were summing more than one envelope. But first, let's kick on some much needed reverb and fiddle around with the patches we've got it set, before we kick it up a notch with some creative experimentation. just wanted to take a minute to let everybody know that I'll have to put a pause on the Alan Strange series while I travel halfway around the world with a bunch of modules to take part in an artistic residency in the heart of Estonia in the beautiful little town of Viljandi. I'm really looking forward to working with this new patch that I'm developing and creating some material to release a new album. You can follow my patching adventures on my J. Daniel Cramer Instagram feed, and please consider helping me out by joining my Patreon to support me in my music making efforts. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the road to Viljandi. Now let's add some more elements and see what we can get. So now I'm using 3 of the dope for envelopes here in the module, and instead of using the keyboard to trigger them off with gate voltages, I'm using a little trigger module made by Dopefer, but now discontinued. It has 3 buttons on it, and it gives me outputs that each give me a high gate when pressed, so I can individually fire off and hold those 3 envelope generators. The output of the 3 envelope generators head into a little Surge 3P Euro module that is acting as my sum and offset module, and it's a really useful way to control voltages. So let's have a listen to the first channel. So that's envelope number 1, and we can hear it being quantized and playing notes, and the keyboard voltage is still controlling the filter frequency. But I've made a little bit of a change there as well. To smooth things out, I'm using a Bissell generator as a slew generator to slow the changes in filter frequency as they're controlled by the keyboard voltages. So there's channel 1 envelope. Next, let's hear the second envelope. So we can hear that it's set to different timing, has a different decay time and a different release time. And then the third envelope actually subtracts voltages from the offset, so that when I engage it, it'll actually drop the pitches down. And I do this simply by summing it in with the rest of them negatively and then offsetting the total voltage up so that the quantizer can still read it. Next, I'll kick on a little bit of reverb, and let's play with what we've got. Simply by engaging the different envelopes at different times, I can bat the voltages up and down in an ever-changing scale. And then I still have control over the filter by changing the frequency of the keyboard. Next, I'll add in a previously recorded drone, and let's see if we can get some weird little music going on. watching. Please consider joining my Patreon and join me next time as we explore more Stranger Synthings.